Well, in all honesty, Chris, he's only showed up for work about 10 out of 11, 10 out of every 15 weeks. So he was working. You're working somewhere.
It's a part-time gig. What can I say?
I know.
Hey, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope everyone had a good holiday. The Cowboys actually won. I had a good holiday. Of course, after watching them play, I got indigestion, so it kind of ruined the whole thing.
Miracles happen every so often.
Oh, and it happened Thursday. We got a good show tonight. Of course, George's going to give the scores here in just a minute and what we have. Tough night tonight because it ends the season for a lot of teams, and, of course, a great time tonight for those who are going to play on next weekend. Going to have Jared Schatz on tonight to talk about the coverage on MPB of these ball games because people are going to want to know, who's going where and those afternoon games, George. I mean, people just, they can't leave the office, so at least they'll be able to hear the games.
That's right.
And Johnny Mims going to be along to talk about the All-Star games, which are Friday Night Under the Lights productions coming up in Mobile and also in Gulfport. And
2
then
weeks.
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks is the
Miss
Miss
first
Al.
one. No, yes, Miss Al's back then to be
And
in
then
the.
in 3 weeks is the North and South game down in Gulfport.
And we're going to carry that Friday night banquet, which is always very, very good. He has a great speaker there, and it's just really, really a neat time. Plus, tonight, we've not had Kerry Metzler on this year because Kerry's not doing Picayune anymore.
Right.
Tommy Upton is. Tommy's going to be calling in. But Kerry called me this week, and he's doing stuff for the Maroon Tide during halftime. And he said, "Can I interview you about FNUTL?" And I said, "Sure." So he called, and we did an interview. Very, very insightful interview. I think you listen to, you're gonna. He said a few things about me and you and Chris and some of the gang. Ty. I mean, the list is long but distinguished.
And stuff that we can air, right?
That's right. Well, it's been edited. To it. Chris said, "We got here and got all the tape on the floor." I said, "What's that, Chris?" He goes, "That's your interview." The parts we can't use. All right.
Oh, well.
A guy that worked tonight, Dr. Reed Vance, giving us a call on Friday night under the lights. Warren Central's Vikings made it to the semifinals. And Reed, what happened?
Well, they lost, Russ. Grenada beat them. 23-10 was the final score. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Just checking, yeah. Grenada won 23-10. Grenada's got maybe the best running back in the state. I think we saw that tonight. Caleb Taylor just did kind of whatever he wanted, and that offensive line did a good job at providing the space for him to do it. There were several plays where he kind of carried some Viking defenders with him for several yards. They're kind of a one-dimensional offense, but the one dimension they have is outstanding, and they won it. Now, Warren Central didn't help themselves at all. The Vikings early in the season had some problems with penalties and turnovers, some mental mistakes. Those things got corrected as the season went along, but every once in a while, bad habits, as we all know, can reappear. And unfortunately for the Vikings, those bad habits reappeared tonight. I was telling Briggs Hobson, my broadcast partner, Senator Hobson, who does games with me for Warren Central and WDBG-FM in Vicksburg, that anytime you've got a game where the teams are relatively evenly matched, and I think they were tonight, the team that is the most disciplined football team is almost always going to win. And without any doubt, Grenada was the most disciplined football team here tonight.
Reed, we wondered how good Grenada was after Clinton beat Brandon, of all people, and then they go up to Grenada the next week and lose. And people were going, boy, how good is this team? Because you don't hear much about them, Yep. We did hear that they had a good running back, but apparently they've got a solid offense because the Warren Central defense wasn't anything to play around with.
No, Warren Central had given up 35 points in the last 7 games combined coming into this game. But Grenada is averaging 35 points a game this season. And, I don't mean to make light of their passing game by saying they're one-dimensional, but they didn't have to throw the football tonight. Michaela Taylor's the real deal. He's went for over 23, maybe 2,400 yards when it's all said and done after tonight's performance. And you can't stop him by trying to tackle him above the waist. You've got to get it below the waist and drag him down. And the Vikings weren't able to do that consistently tonight, but they had too many penalties, and they had too many mistakes, 3 turnovers. They had chances to win because it was a 10-10 ball game going into the fourth quarter.
Wow!
But the fourth quarter mistakes really doomed the Vikings, and you got to give credit to the Chargers because they took advantage of those mistakes.
Now, how many of those Vikings are seniors? Are they losing a good bit?
Yeah, they really are. They're losing a lot of them. The quarterback, Nash Gordon, will be back. He's only a sophomore, but you've got other guys like Jalen Winters, Maddox Lynch, Eric Collins, Aiden Greer. They're primary ball handlers. This was their year, and it's unfortunate. They do have the head coach. He's going to reload. They've got some talent coming back. They had a lot of defensive players they're going to lose because they're seniors. A lot of those guys' names I just called, and some of the defensive players too, Gavin Davenport, T.K. Qualls, those kind of guys, they're going to be playing, if not on Thursday night, they're going to be playing on Saturdays next year. So it's a senior league football team, and they just came up a couple of games short.
Well, you know, it happens. Yeah, it happened to me last Saturday. So
Yeah.
it does happen, and that's why they play the games. And who's coaching up at Grenada?
Michael Sayers, the head coach up there, doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, the coach who won all those games for South Panola back in the day.
Ricky Woods.
My understanding is he's an assistant or a coordinator or a consultant for them, and it really shows. Because the way that South Panola used to win those football games, that's the way Grenada wins their football games.
How about that? Well, you know, we were talking about somebody about that this week, how Ricky was over there, and I said, well, if he's over there and he takes that South Panola way of doing things back in the day, no wonder Grenada's a pretty good team. Well, Reed, we want to thank you for making us a part of your Friday night every night since August, and it's a tough way to end the season, and, I know that the people that I've talked to from Vicksburg are very grateful for your calling and your group that works. You may want to stick around tonight, and it sounds like you're in your car. You're probably going to anyway, but Kerry Metzler did an interview with me. It's going to come up at 11:15 that he ran in the Maroon Tide football game tonight, and he mentioned you specifically in it. So may want to hear.
Well, tell him the check's in the mail. I love Kerry. He's fantastic. You know, I've always thought if 60 Minutes needed a guy, it's Kerry Metzler. So I'm excited to see how his expose of Russ Robinson on Friday night under the line, how that sounds tonight. I just know he made you sweat doing it, and he nailed you, and I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to it. I love Kerry Metzler. He's just a fantastic guy, and I love you guys, and it's been a real treat working with you again this year.
Well, we love you too, Reed, and we just appreciate you being a part of what we do, and we'll look forward to talking to you next year, my friend.
Absolutely. Y'all have a great night, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Merry Christmas to you.
All right.
So we got a break here. Let's get the scores in that we have.
And then we can go to Will the Thrill.
And then Will the Thrill's on deck.
Okay, Russ, let me give you the top from the top. This is 7A, and this kind of, I don't think too many of these games went against the grain. Maybe a couple did. Tupelo at home tonight defeated Madison Central by the score of 21-3 in 7A, and they'll advance to play Brandon next weekend, as Brandon traveled to Ocean Springs tonight and won the south half of 7A 31-13 over the Greyhounds. In 6A, just mentioned Reed Vance talking about Grenada's win over Warren Central 23-10. Hold your hat now. Hattiesburg goes to Picayune and upsets Picayune. I guess that's an upset, but 39-35.
Ooh!
So Picayune's been in the championship a lot.
Yes.
In 6A lately, but this year it's going to be Hattiesburg and Grenada, which will be a really good game. In 5A, West Point beat Cleveland Central tonight 14-7, and a real shootout between Gaucher and Brookhaven in the south half of 5A. Gaucher wins 37-35.
And Will the Thrill's going to talk about that game.
Yes, he will.
All right.
4A, Louisville had no trouble with West Lauderdale, winning 40-6, and Poplarville edged Forest 24-21 in 4A. So Louisville will play Poplarville in the championship. 3A, Choctaw County 41, East Webster 20, and McGee remains undefeated. They outscored Noxubee County tonight 53-38. In 2A, Charleston beat Northside 22-14 in the north, and Heidelberg beat Raleigh 26-12 in the south half.
Raleigh had a great team.
They did.
Had a great season.
A lot of these were good teams that went down tonight. But in 1A, I've not been able to get a final, but Baldwin was comfortably ahead of West Lowndes 27-6 in the second half. And Simmons, and I've seen a couple of different scores, but Simmons apparently beat Velma Jackson. The most reliable score I have was 30-0. Now, well, Simmons was undefeated.
No.
Well, I mean, that's all I've got.
All right, where's Dr. Dave?
Well, Dr. Dave, I've asked Dave, I've asked Will, and I don't have anything any better than that.
That can't be.
Well, I've checked 2 different places.
Wow.
Or more than one.
We're
Actually,
talking
more than
Velma
2.
Jackson here. They're loaded.
Well, Simmons
So
is
Simmons.
too.
And, Simmons has a tradition of being in that game.
Yeah.
I've called several of the games on TV with Simmons, and
Yeah.
they just get there.
They're always there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right.
Anyway, that's what we got right now.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to the telephones. Will the Thrill was going to give us. Boy, you must have enjoyed that one, man.
I'm speechless. I really am, and you know me well enough to know it takes a lot to shut me up. But and the reason I say this is because I'm gonna give you the short version of this report. It came down to the last play of the game. Brookhaven was down 37-35. If I'm wrong, y'all forgive me. I just turned 58 last Thursday.
Well,
So
hang
my
on.
memory might be
Don't have a birthday before we come back, because we're up against a break. So don't go anywhere. You've got me wondering what that last play was. We're going to come back to you. Hey, tonight's show is made possible by the folks at Malone Roofing. They've got a new location down on 49, and they are growing like leaps and bounds because they're Malone roofers. They're more than just roofers. They're a part of your community. We'll be back with more of Friday Night Under Lights with Will the Thrill in a moment.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
I volunteer at a bunny rescue, and with Cricket, my bill is consistent.
Wait, this is huge! A new offer, 5G for $15. You heard it here first. 5G plans starting at $15 a month. Smile, you're on Cricket.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson along with George Broadstreet and Will the Thrill, who is calling in about Brookhaven tonight. All right, they were down 37-35, Brookhaven was, last play of the game.
Well, no, now Russ and George and everyone else who's listening has known me during my playing career. I was a kicker, so I'm partial to kickers. So the Brookhaven kicker lines up the kick was to be a potential game-winning field goal.
Okay.
The kick was good, but laundry on the field.
Oh, no.
So, long story short, the Panthers had to retry the kick. This time, they missed it. Gaucher wins the game.
Ooh.
Like, plain and simple. 37-35, Gaucher wins the game, and they get the unfortunate task of taking on West Point. Enough said.
Let me go back to the penalty, Will. What was it? I'm assuming it's a 5-yarder.
It was, so that made the Panthers had to try to kick. This time, the kicker missed it, and I was beyond words. Thanks to the Gaucher fan, I don't remember the guy's name who did a live feed from the game site. I cannot remember this guy's name, but I did want to give him a shout out for doing just that tonight. But unfortunately for the Panthers, 20 years to the date, I would say, when Brookhaven won 4A in football 20 years ago with Jimmy Johns and Jesse Bowman, unfortunately, Panthers season comes to an end.
Well, I can't believe it's been 20 years because I called that game, if you remember. And
I remember.
It was on TV, and I called it, and Jimmy Johns was just unbelievable. And for Brookhaven to get this close tonight and lose it on a penalty, it's tough. Look, it's tough losing a game. It's really tough losing it on a penalty. But you know what? That's not the only game that's been lost in the last couple of weeks on a penalty, and that's all I'll say about that. But, hey, Will, we appreciate everything you've done. A lot of people don't realize how much work you put into the sheets that George gets to work with here. And, you know, we always know how many days it is until high school football starts again, because I'll get a text from Will and go, it's only 191 days.
Well, I'm already working on 2025. Only thing I'm left looking for is MHSAA enrollment numbers.
Oh, okay. Well, that will be interesting. Will, we got to run. We got people on. Thank you so much, my friend, and thank you for being a part of what we do. And, George, you got something?
Yeah, I need to clarify a couple of scores.
Yeah.
I do have the final, the Baldwin-West Lowndes 1A game. It was 35-6. That was the final. Baldwin won. Now, also, a minute ago, I gave you a score on McGee and Noxubee County in 3A. We're now getting a completely different score. It is now, and this is a different winner. So from what we've got, Noxubee County beat McGee 36-34. So we will try to pursue that and make sure that is the correct score.
Will, have you heard anything on that?
I have not as of yet, but give me about 5 to 10 minutes, George. I will text you and let you know.
Thank you very
Will.
much, Will.
Thank you,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
All right, let's go to
Mike Peterson.
Mike Peterson, who, woo, Mike. Tell you what, y'all had a game down there in Picayune tonight.
We had a barn burner of a game in Picayune tonight. Wow. There's nothing more to say. 39-35, Hattiesburg wins it. Picayune has the ball. First and goal at the 5-yard line. Hattiesburg had not really stopped them all night, stuffs them twice on first and second down, forces Picayune to throw 2 passes. Both passes fall incomplete. Tigers win it 39-35, led by Mr. 6A football, Deuce Vance, who I would say probably threw for well over 300 yards tonight.
Ooh.
And most of his yardage went to 5-star wide receiver who's only a junior. He's the number 4 ranked overall player in the nation for the class of 2026. He probably had over 250 yards receiving tonight.
Good grief.
Biggest play of the night, Tigers trailing by 4, have it at midfield, 4th down and 26. Coach Vance rolls the dice and goes for it and hits Tristan Keys on a 50-yard touchdown pass to give the Tigers a lead.
Oh, my gosh. And who's holding you down in your chair?
Well, we are still here in Picayune, and I'm walking in the end zone right now where y'all can hear me and I can hear y'all because there's a Hattiesburg party going on in Picayune, Mississippi.
I'll bet there is.
The thing about it is, being in Picayune, we're not too far from Bourbon Street, if you know that. I mean, we're just right through the road.
You probably headed over there. But you know what your gift is for winning this game tonight, who you got to play?
We do have to play Grenada, but you know what? Coach Vance didn't care who we played. He said it's just the goal to go 1-0 next week. He told his team, he goes, we'll accept the South State trophy tonight. He goes, but this is not the trophy we want.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is we're going 2 minutes down the road to play in the Rock at Southern Middle.
That's right. Man, it's a home game for you.
It is a home game for us, and I can say this, no tongue-in-cheek, there'll be more Hattiesburg fans next Saturday night than Southern Miss had a home game at their home game this year.
Oh, my God. Boy, you're really crawling out on a branch on that one, aren't you?
I am.
Wow.
But hey, I know this is the last show of the year tonight for this year of 2024. I want to say it has been an absolute pleasure to call y'all for 14 straight weeks and to be 14-0. Or 13-0. I'm sorry.
I can't ever remember a time when that was that was the case for you. And this has been a dream season. However, if you know what happened to us last Saturday, you got to finish it out. And I know.
You have to finish it out.
Yeah.
Finish it out.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we have enjoyed having you. Got your picture with the little brown jug on our website. It's been a great season. Be sure to give Tony our best, and I know that he's probably in the midst of that party that's being taking place down in Picayune right now.
He's somewhere. I've got to find him. I have no clue where he is off to right now.
Well, if you find him, give him our number and ask him to call.
Will do. So y'all have a great rest of the year.
Thank you, Mike. This is our last show tonight, but we wish you a very Merry Christmas, my friend.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Well, now, since you mentioned last week, there's a guy named Joseph Craven.
Craven.
So hang on just a second. I got his picture up. Now we bring him in.
Oh, yeah.
Here he is.
Yeah, you got to have the picture with the voice.
Picture's there.
That's right. Joseph!
Y'all going to make me feel terrible with that lead-in, making me feel guilty.
Now, would I ever do anything like that for you because you won the game?
No,
no. All right.
Oh,
and
man.
you got to admit, though, Joseph, it was one of the best MAIS games this year.
Oh, easily. And I tell you what, the MAIS championship week last week was full of a lot of entertaining games, but that was unquestionably the cherry on top. What an outstanding outing from the two top 6A squads. I mean, Jackson Prep and Hartfield came out ready to go to battle, ready for the highly vaunted rematch of last year's title game, and it was, oh man, it was so much fun to watch. I had so many uninvested third-party viewers talk to me afterwards, talking about how great a game it was. It's just, you know this. I mean, you were just mentioning calling a Brookhaven game 20 years ago and bringing up people's names.
Yeah.
You know, the reason we love sports on this level, the reason we love sports in general, it's folklore and it's legends that are developed, and that's the type of game we'll be talking about years and years and years from now.
Yeah, well, it is, and let me go on record as saying that Kinsey West, I thought, was the difference in the game, and I think all of the coverage has said that. I thought that, to me, one of the most exciting plays of the night was when Gardner Young got loose for the touchdown pass. They call it back due to a penalty, which really was a penalty, by the way, and we run the same play to the other side and still get the touchdown. It's kind of crazy. But I tell you, to me, Joseph, when y'all went to the Wildcat with Kinsey, that made the difference of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. So that was something that had been birthed out of the coach's offensive coordinator Pat Toller's goal, or his red zone offense had been a heavy package.
Right.
Sort of thing, and he started to expand that down the field a little bit more after he felt like Kinsey had gotten comfortable running a true Wildcat, making some read option reads or making quick, touch pitches out to Braylon Womack or KD Catchings on the other side. It was something that as Kinsey got more and more comfortable, and that was something we worked into the offense, and it just showed as the season went on as well that he became a guy you could rely on in general. I mean, he's going to go to college, Kinsey West is, and he's going to play defensive back.
Isn't that something?
What's that?
I said, isn't that something that's what he's going to play?
Yeah.
But he could play on the other side of the ball, and who knows, he may still yet.
Right.
So
I mean, if colleges are wanting to have more Travis Hunter type both way players, if that's the trend once again, I'm all for it, and I think Kinsey's a great candidate for it because he made great defensive plays as well as scoring all 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he did, and I salute you, and boy, the folks are just really, really pleased with your broadcast, as well they should be, and we want to thank you, Joseph, for being a part of our broadcast every Friday night here on Friday Night Under the Lights. Wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and have a good, safe holiday, my friend.
Well, of course, it's always an honor to be a part of what y'all do on Friday nights, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joseph. We will take a timeout. When we come back, George will go over the scores again. Is this one still up in the air?
Well, there's like 3 sources one way and 1 or 2 sources the other.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
I was spending too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. Yeah! Smile, you're on cricket.
I was spending too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. Yeah. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Cricket has free Samsung Galaxy phones. Whoa! Free phones? That's 5G. And nationwide coverage.
Pretty good deal.
Smile, you're on Cricket.
1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search. You'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
Cricket has free Samsung Galaxy phones? What?
Nationwide coverage and lightning fast 5G?
Smile, you're on Cricket.
Mississippians love football, and our high schools in South Mississippi, like Gulfport, Moss Point, and Ocean.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights, made possible tonight by Cricket Wireless. It is, of course, the holiday season, and your friends at Cricket Wireless are waiting to see you, and they've got all kinds of plans and all kinds of phones. And be sure to thank them for making Friday Night Under the Lights possible. Before we go to Jake, who obviously has plenty of time coming home from Ocean Springs, what is the score on McGee?
The best, 36-34 Noxubee County over McGee. That's being reported in about 3 different places. There is another place where it's saying McGee won by that original score that I gave you. But Will has got on his score sheet that Noxubee County won. So that's what we're going to go with right now.
But Carrie looked at the MHSAA website.
Yeah.
And it said McGee won.
Okay.
Did you see that when I showed that to you?
Yeah, I agree. But I also, and this is another strange thing, that Simmons-Velma Jackson score.
Yeah.
There's not a consistent score on that, other than the fact that Simmons won either 30-0 or 50-0 over Velma Jackson.
It wasn't 50-0. I
don't think it was
now.
either. I'm not even sure it was 30-0. That's the best source we got right now. But we'll keep working on this.
Yeah, Dr. Dave hasn't reported in yet, has he?
Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, we know. Do you want me to give you the other scores real quick?
Yeah, real quick.
All right, real quick. All right, 7A, Tupelo defeated Madison Central 21-3. Brandon beat Ocean Springs 31-13. We know that. Grenada beat Warren Central 23-10 in 6A. Hattiesburg beat Picayune 39-35. We know all of those are official because we've had those verified in multiple ways. In 5A, West Point beat Cleveland Central 14-7. Gaucher over Brookhaven 37-35. In 4A, Louisville over West Lauderdale 40-6. Poplarville beat Forest 24-21. In 3A, it was Choctaw County over East Webster 41-20. Again, we have that score that we're not completely confident of, but Noxubee County over McGee 36-34. Charleston in 2A beat Northside 22-14. Heidelberg 26, Raleigh 12. And in the 1A championship games, we do know that Baldwin beat West Lowndes 35-6. And again, that Simmons-Velma Jackson score, we do think West Simmons was the winner, and we're trying to verify the exact score. So I don't recall ever on a semifinal night that we have this much confusion over scores.
I can't
But
either.
anyway, we'll keep working on it, and we'll let you know for sure.
See, I'm looking at what Carrie sent me from the MHSAA website that says 53-38 McGee.
Yeah, that was the original score I gave.
But now there's
at least 3 other sources that's got Knoxville County. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Talk to Jake.
We don't have to worry about this with Jake. We know what his score is.
We know his score, and he's lost on 49 somewhere.
Hey, Jake.
Guys, listen to y'all report on that McGee Knoxville County. It feels like we're doing election night coverage on a battleground today.
We are. and the AP just called it.
That's right. They called it
Right.
Well, and you know what? Jake's on the way home on 49. If you don't mind swinging by McGee High School and checking out.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, you've had a good one tonight, playing probably one of the more improved teams since August in Ocean Springs down there. Was that wind swirling down there tonight?
Oh, yeah, the wind was swirling. We had Chris Eberhard in shorts on the sideline. He got a full dose of that tonight. But, hey, yeah, look, Ocean Springs, much improved. I mean, look, that is a really good football team that Jake Bramlett's put together down there. Really good quarterback, a good running back. Really big on the offensive front. And you know, Brandon jumped out to a 7-0 lead. They came back and matched it. They had an extra point block. It was 7-6. And, you know, it's one of those things I think where experience kind of really stepped into the equation tonight. You know, this was Brandon's 4th straight trip to the South State Championship. And Coach Williams said earlier this week, he said, hey, look, our guys look poised. They look ready. They've been here before. And, you know, this moment will not be too big for them. And it wasn't. Sladen Shack was back under center after a week off last week, nursing his, his ankle, his right ankle. He looked really good. And, you know, Tyson Robinson, again, you know, does what Tyson Robinson does. He went for over 200 yards of total offense tonight. And I think at the end of the day, it was just too many athletes on the field. Brandon, way too multiple offensively. And then their defense was able to really shut down that Ocean Springs run game. And, you know, Ocean Springs wanted to run it. They wanted to control the clock, and Brandon kind of took them out of that, got up a couple scores, and they didn't chase. And ultimately, Brandon walks away with a win in the South State Championship.
Well, you know, Jake, you've been here before, and with the Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know what it's going to take next weekend. Is Tupelo? Have you seen a team or played a team that runs what Tupelo runs?
You know, probably not. I mean, obviously, J.J. Harrell, 7A Player of the Year for the MHSAA in the state of Mississippi. He is a big physical back. He runs it hard downhill, and I think that's going to be one of the many storylines in the 7A championship. Is you've got 2 running backs that are different styles that are on display, and both lead their teams. And it's like, which one of these guys is going to, you know, get the upper hand in this ball game? So, you know, they're a big physical team. You know, they're gonna lead with a run and then throw off the pass. And you know, I think for Brandon, it's just you're gonna have to get out to a quick start. I know Sam Williams, if he gets an opportunity, he'll take the football. But they're going to have to get out and hopefully make Tupelo chase in this one, just like they did Ocean Springs. And then it's, hey, can you limit J.J. Harrell's carries, and can you get him on the ground, because we know he is an extremely physical football player.
What did my man Quincy do tonight?
I believe Quincy was somewhere around 5 to 7 touches tonight. He caught some, caught several balls in some traffic. Carried the football a couple of times, and had a couple kickoff returns and of course a punt return. So. He's a guy that's, as we know, you're going to see him on Thursday night. He's going to do a lot for Brandon. He does it in the return game. He'll do it in the receiving game. And one of the things that I think where Brandon may have an upper hand is their vertical passing game, or their pitch catch game versus Tupelo's secondary, which obviously is really good on the outside. With Quincy being able to work the middle of the field, I would look for Quincy Phillips to have a big night on Thursday night in Hattiesburg.
I think you're right, Jake. I agree with you on that assessment. A lot of people think Tupelo's the best team in the state that no one's heard about, and that's because obviously where they are in the state, way up there in the north. But you just don't know much about them, and that's what makes these championship games so good. And look, like I say, you've been there in this game and got turned away, so it can happen.
Oh, absolutely. And look, if we were setting a Vegas line on this thing, and I know we don't gamble on high school sports, I would say it would probably be Tupelo minus a couple points in this game. That's where Vegas would probably lay it. I think it's a 4-quarter game, and I think, look, You're talking about an undefeated Tupelo team, a branded team that was 3 points away from being undefeated, that lost in week 3 to Clinton in a shootout, 66-62. So I think we're in for a heck of a 7A championship.
Well, we found out how good Grenada was tonight because Clinton, after beating you, went up there and lost.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Grenada is a fantastic team, and they're going to have that experience factor in theirs. Of course, they'll be taking on Tony Vance, who I know you know well, and Deuce Vance, and that Hattiesburg team. Boy, they've got that whole thing rolling.
They really do. I tell you, Jake, the games that we have set for this year are just humdingers. And I think the neat thing is you've got some teams in there that either haven't been there in a while and are back, and you have some that made the reservation when they left town last year. Louisville Wildcats. Give me your opinion on this team.
Oh, look, you can make an argument it's the best team in the state. And all they do is win. I believe 14 times they've been to the state championship, and 14 times they have won it.
Yep.
So, that is unbelievable when you think about, instant ticket, instant championship. That's what they do. And we know about the history and tradition there in Louisville with the championships and the coaches that have come out of there, that have coached around the state of Mississippi, the players that have gone on to play collegiately in the National Football League. It is an unbelievable program, and it's an unbelievable city or town, and boy, you don't do it much better than what they do in Louisville.
Well, it's just going to be a fun week. And that Brandon, what time is the kickoff on that Brandon Tupelo game?
That'll be Thursday at 7:30.
Woo, that's going to be good. It's just been a great season having you on, Jake. You bring so much to the table. I don't know if Kerry sent you the interview that he did with me, but he mentioned you in it, and so you may want to listen to the show on the rest of the way home, because we're going to play that interview in the 11 o'clock hour. But it's about Friday Night Under the Lights and some of the guys that make up what it is, and that would be you're one of them. And you just do a great job for Brandon. I hear it every Sunday when I go to church. Hey, Jake? Yeah, I know him. And he's great at what he does. Yeah, I know that. So. But you do, and we just are so proud to have you a part of our program.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Russ. We've got nothing but time, so we'll have you on the rest of the way.
Well, I tell you, we're gonna chase that score down now. We're gonna find out who won that game.
Yeah. Let's don't take this to 2 a.m. in the morning before we call that night.
Thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. Have a great Christmas. All righty, bud.
Y'all too.
Bye-bye.
Well, we've got a break coming. We
Okay.
say hello to Jared.
Okay.
And then have him hang on as we go into break.
All right. Jared Schatz joins us now. And, Jared, we're going to hold you through the break we got coming up. But I want to talk about these playoffs next week. Is so important that so many people are glad that you got this thing put together on MPB, because they can hear those games. We're going to take a timeout. Are you with me?
We're here, brother.
Okay, man. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Tonight's show made possible by the state treasurer, David McRae of Mississippi. We'll be back in a moment.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
I was paying too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. Yeah! Smile, you're on cricket.
I was paying too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. 4. Yeah. Smile, you're on cricket.
Cricket has free Samsung Galaxy phones. Whoa! Free phone? That's 5G. And nationwide coverage.
Pretty good deal.
Smile, you're on cricket.
This is MPB Think Radio. Mississippi is our mission.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson along with George Broadstreet. Chris Saxon is producing tonight. Ty Bailey is on the telephone taking your calls at 877-672-7464. And we've got Jared Schatz, who is on the phone, who's got state championship coverage coming up next Thursday. And Jared, I think you got, I'm going to use this word, I can't spell it, but I can say it, plethora of games.
Please don't spell it.
Doesn't plethora start with an F? I don't know. It's something like that. Anyway, Jared.
Well, I'm still waiting for you to spell that. I was getting excited. Christmas came early.
Let's get that at the next break, Jared, if you don't mind. Hey, look, bud, you've got the games on radio coming up on Thursday. Give us maybe a preview of some of the guys we're going to be able to hear on the broadcast.
Yeah, we've got an outstanding bunch of guys. You just heard from one, Jake Wimberly. He's actually going to get the nod to lead off things with the 3A ball game. You'll hear guys like Josh West, who calls in, Cliff Barker, Brandon Davis, Caleb Hamill, really a talented group of guys. You'll have Brian Eubank on the call, and these are just some really talented guys from the state of Mississippi. And here's the deal. We get a lot of phone calls, and we have a lot of friends around the state of Mississippi. There are a ton of qualified individuals to do these games, and it's been a core group of guys we've had for a long time, and very excited to hand the mic off to them. And I would have to announce that our last one would be Ben Ingram of the Atlanta Braves, who is he's pretty well known around these parts and around the nation as well for what he does for the Braves. So we're very excited about this group of guys. Speaking of, Jake had a good point talking about the election in a swing state. That kind of goes to this Georgia Tech-Georgia game right now, going to the fifth overtime. I don't know if it's a ball game or an election in a swing state the way it's going. So,
they're going to call it at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, they're in the fifth overtime. These 2-point conversions, guys, that they go for in the third overtime, where they just have to rotate 2-point conversions, they remind me of like penalty shots in soccer. It's just a disaster.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people, Jared, that are glad that you're carrying these games because, we're a society that moves a lot and can't always, sit down and watch or you just got to make sure that you can hear a game. And, streaming is great and wonderful, but it's just nice to be able to know that you can find an MPB station anywhere in this state and that game is on.
Absolutely. That was kind of the goal of this thing when we started out very small back in 2017 and then went to statewide radio in 2018. And for anybody listening, we call this the State Championships Radio Network, and we thought it was a very fitting name. MPB is a massive part of that. And want to thank Java Chapman and all the guys up there. They do a fantastic job of helping with, everything they put into that, all the resources we need for it, as you guys know, for Friday Night Under the Lights.
Yep.
Same crew. They do an outstanding job. And I tell you, there's some interesting matchups this year. I think the 6A and 7A game look a lot alike. You've got two power football teams in Grenada and Tupelo. And I don't use the word finesse because I know Brandon, they can power football, run it as well. But I think, Brandon is one of those teams that's explosive, a lot like Hattiesburg. So I think those two games themselves, they mirror image each other, and there's going to be some fantastic ball games all throughout the classification.
Really is. Hey, you wouldn't happen to have a final score on that McGee Noxubee game, would you?
Actually, I think we did have one. Let me look.
Guys, we're getting
36 to 34 is what I got.
With who winning?
Noxubee.
Yeah.
And you know what? Brandon Shields just texted me and said Noxubee wins at 36-34.
Well, look, if Brandon says it, that's pretty much as gospel as it gets. Yeah.
So it's a tough loss for McGee tonight. They were undefeated going into that game, but Noxubee just has a way. Jared, as you know, I've called a lot of games over there over the years, and Noxubee has been my team that I've had a chance to call over the years. They just have a way of sneaking into this game.
They have a way of getting in, and this is a team that they're never out of it. And that's an explosive ball club. I remember a few years ago when they tangoed with, was it Raleigh a few years back with Perkins get through. And I remember that ball game went on about 4 hours. I think Jake and Ingram were on the call for that one, and I think I got to go to the subway 4 times and hear everybody sing.
I remember seeing Ben, and he came out and goes, I think I just called a doubleheader. Well, look, man, that is a great lineup of guys, and you're right. There's a lot of guys across the state that could do this, but you got a great, great crew there, and certainly a lot of talent and experience there. The fans that are going to be listening are going to really be treated. So, hey, thanks for making us a part of your Friday night, Jared, because that's what we do. I mean, we get the scores, and it takes the people that calls these games to bring them to life, and you have done exactly that, and we appreciate you so much.
Well, we thank you guys. We appreciate everything you guys do, and I hate this is the last show, but look, let's end this thing in Hattiesburg next week, and it'll be here before you know it.
You got it. Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care. Jared Schatz. All right, so we do have a final on that. What we got, Chris?
Tommy Epton.
Tommy. You may have heard Mike Peterson early, Tommy, but
Good.
Yeah.
Mike is still over at the stadium party. We have moved over to the Waffle House for the defeat party, but they're still over at the Moontown Stadium.
How'd you get everybody in over there?
Well, it's a little crowded. I'm having to come in and out to pass out menus, make sure everybody's ready when they get up to the order. It's cold.
Yeah, it is cold.
It's like up in the North Mississippi, South Mississippi, it's cold.
Ooh, I'm telling you, it's cold.
I tell you, instant classic down here in Picayune. ESPN's already called us, and they're going to rerun it at 1 a.m. because it immediately went to an instant classic.
Wow.
It was a ball game. It was 19-17 at halftime. Mike gave an update. I would disagree a little bit how he ended the game, but I'll give you my version of that. But it really started at halftime. 19-17 is a score. Picayune completes it. There's fourth down, and I think it's 7 seconds on the clock. Picayune completes a pass, runs out of bounds. They initially say it was at the 50-yard line, and they say no time on the clock, into half. The officials gather up and say, nope, there's 1 second. Got out of bounds was 1 second. So we run a play, and they said, oh, nope, there's a penalty there. So they called us for, I think it was jumping off sides, and so they marked us back 5 yards, said, you still got to run another play there. So, okay. So we run another play, and we do a direct snap to Darrell Smith, who's our running back one. And he's a former quarterback, and so we just throw 2 guys out there. We're going to do a Hail Mary from the 45. Hattiesburg sends back 2 corners back, so there are literally 4 guys standing at the 5-yard line like center fielders waiting on the ball to come down. Hattiesburg tips it twice. Our wide receiver catches it and stumbles and falls into the end zone, touchdown to end the half. So we looked, and there's a yellow hanky on the field, and they call Picayune for holding 62 yards away from the play. They call holding and take the touchdown off the board. And so we go into halftime trailing 19-17. And so then, even though it was back and forth, just a great ball game, Picayune really felt they won the first half, but that was kind of a downer. So we come out, and it's back and forth the second half, just back and forth, back and forth. The end of the end result is there were 4 Picayune touchdowns that were called back because of penalties. So it was just kind of nice for Picayune. And then we had Hattiesburg 3 different times in 4th and 20+, and 2 of the 3 times they threw touchdowns to number 5. Number 5 is legit. He was a man among boys. It seems like when they needed 5 yards, they just said, hey, we're going to throw it to 5. We don't care if you cover him with 2 or 7. He's going to get the ball, and he caught it. The last time was 4th and 26, I believe, and that's one Mike was describing where they threw a 40-yard touchdown. And so Picayune had their chances at the end of the game. 4th and actually the 2nd and goal from the 10. We complete 2 passes in the end zone. Both of those are called out of bounds. Both of them, just it could go either way. And so Darrell Smith catches one on 3rd down, and then on 2nd down, and then on 3rd down, the wingback catches one, and he's out of bounds. And then on 4th down, we throw it over his head, and so it ends the game 39-35 with a turnover on downs on the 6-yard line.
It is an instant classic, Tommy. I mean, I can
understand. It was a ball game.
Yeah,
it was just a brawl.
Let me ask you this, though.
We look at this, and we talked about in the beginning of the season, and we honestly didn't expect to be there. This team was out-talented all year long, but I've never seen a team with as much heart, Russ, as these guys have. They just fought every single game, and that's what they did tonight. Hats off to the Tide, and good luck to Hattiesburg as they travel up, and they got to face a really good Grenada team.
Thanks, Tommy. Have a great Christmas, a wonderful New Year, and we will talk to you again next year, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Tommy. Boy, that does sound like a classic. I wonder how many yards they were penalized in that game.
I don't know, but the game was at Picayune, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a home job or something.
No.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
All right, we're going to step out of here, take a time out. More Friday Night Under the Lights coming up, made possible tonight by Malone Roofers. Back in a moment.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer every day. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Commercial roofing, reliable and durable solutions for your business. Residential roofing, protecting your home with quality craftsmanship. Metal walls, custom designs for a modern look. Emergency services. Rapid response to protect your property.
After a recent hailstorm, I needed a total roof replacement. I chose Malone Roofing for the job, and my new roof looks great.
Contact us today for a free inspection. Visit www.ecmalone.com or call 1-833-7-MALONE.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket.
I volunteer at a bunny rescue, and with cricket, my bill is consistent.
Wait, this is huge! A new offer, 5G for 15. You heard it here first. 5G plans starting at $15 a month. Smile, you're on cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket.
Cricket gives me the coverage I need at a really fair price.
Stop! This came all the way from the top. New offer, 5G plan starting at $15 a month. Let's go! Smile, you're on cricket.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ Robinson here, along with George Broadstreet. Chris Saxon is producing. Ty Bailey is taking your calls at 877-672-7464. You know, we thank so many people, and you've heard guys tonight, you know, thanking a lot of different people. We would be amiss if we did not thank Mississippi Public Broadcasting because of how many people get to hear the show because of them.
Yeah, well, that and the fact we can use their studio.
Yes.
And that's a tremendous upgrade over years past. And
we held it outside the window. Hey, we on air? But they had this new studio, and
as Goober would say, it's nice.
It's nice. It's real nice. Is it pretty? It's nice.
Nice.
But they, a big thanks to Java and all the folks here at MPB for accommodating us. And of course, Jermaine, she's not going to get out of here till late tonight.
Yeah.
And so, hey, big thanks to them. All right, Chris, what we got?
Let's talk real quick for the last show. Two guys that call in all the time. Let's talk to Harold and Ty Boyles, and we say goodbye to them for the year. But here is Harold.
Harold, good evening, sir. How are you?
Guys, I'm telling you, I don't know what I'm going to do without not being at M.M. Roberts to see some of these ball games. It is going to be fantastic. And it was like I said last week, hey, it's been an awesome year to work with you guys. Been fantastic to call in for the city of Petal like I've done, and just do what I can to support that ball club, you know. And to Mike Peterson and the Hattiesburg Tigers, to Jake and Brandon and everybody, hey, go for it and you know, put out your best next week. It's going to be some interesting ball games.
It is, and I don't think there's a pushover in the group. I mean, you know, normally you wouldn't have one anyway, but in this group of games, there's just no pushover. I mean, you look at that. That was a classic tonight with Hattiesburg and Picayune.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're already ESPN's calling instant classic, and to have touchdowns called back and penalties and all that sort of stuff, which is part of the game, Harold. As you know, it's not your first rodeo. But I'm gonna tell you something. As you know, I was there for Thanksgiving yesterday, and the people there in Petal are very excited about the future of this football program over there in Petal.
Oh yeah, yeah. We you know, I was talking to Ty a while ago. Countdown. I'm already counting it down. I'm ready for August to get here already. I'm telling you guys, I'm sitting here watching Georgia and Georgia Tech right now, and they're in an 8th overtime.
Oh
my gosh.
Well,
unbelievable.
we got Johnny Mims on the phone, Harold, so we're going to cut and let you go. But thank you for calling in and making us a part of your Friday night. And I hope to see you here during the holiday season, and I'll have the tank with me.
I hear you, buddy. And hey, y'all have a Merry Christmas, and yeah, I'm gonna try my best to be there this coming weekend.
I'll let you know. I got your number. I got your number from Ty, and I'll let you know.
All right, big guy.
All right, man. Thanks,
Harold.
Johnny Mims.
Johnny Mims. Boy, I tell you what, you're not watching the Georgia Tech game, are you?
I am, Russ. It just got through. Georgia just won it in the 8th overtime.
Oh, man. Oh, man. George said that Georgia Tech had the ball and the lead with 2 minutes to go.
They did. Ended up Georgia pulled it out, but Georgia Tech never led, I don't think, Georgia never led until the overtime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Is that the longest game on record? It's got to be pretty close to that. Because what was that, Arkansas?
Arkansas and Ole Miss had 7 overtimes one time, I think, and that was ridiculous. But I can only imagine 8. Oh.
Wow. Well, Johnny, you've got a couple of games coming up. Of course, we have the championships next week, and then the following week we've got the Miss Owl game, which is always very much anticipated game, as they're the best from Mississippi, best Alabama. Then we'll have the Bernard Blackwell game, which is the best of the South and the best of the North coming up. And I know that there's for some reason, Johnny, there seems to be a lot of excitement about both of these games with fans wanting to go to the games.
Yeah, Russ, it is. For some reason, this year has just been kind of a different kind of year for us, and had a lot of just a lot of interest in both games. And obviously, the Mississippi-Alabama game will be played over in Mobile at the South Alabama, in the home of South Alabama this year. That's where they're hosting it. But we come back. That will be on December the 14th, and then we come back. The week after, we have a late one on December the 21st. We'll play our 76th annual Bernard Blackwell All-Star game. That's our annual North-South game. So, looking forward to both All-Star games, and I know our coaching staffs will be ready to go in all of the games. So, just looking forward to it.
Yeah, the banquet on Friday night is such a special event. Chris remembers it real well the first year he went down because his car was the one that was in the ditch when the thing was over with. But he got it out of there eventually. And but we
don't laugh at me, Johnny.
Chris, you're my favorite.
That's right. But you have a speaker. Who's going to be your honorary captain this year?
Well, we've got the and I can't think of his name right off until you hit me, but he was played in a Bernard Blackwell game back in, I want to say, in the early 2000s, and he went and played pro ball some, and he's working down on the coast now. So we were able to pull him this year, and he's graduated from Gulfport High School. So looking forward to him, and he said he's going to bring a good message to the young ones.
That is great. And you always have something for these kids to take, and they make friendships for life. And for some of these kids, Johnny, they'll never play another game of football. But for some of them, they get to showcase some talents, and there's still some possibility for them to play at the JUCO level or Divisions 1, 2, or 3.
Well, there's no doubt about it, Russ. This game has opened up a lot of doors for a lot of our players throughout the state over the years, and it continues to do that. There's a lot of, these young men, they're on the bubbles, they call it, on the bubble, so to speak, and when they get a chance to play against some of the other best, and really they're looking at them during practice. I think our coaches do a great job with them during the practices. What they have for them during the week, and they get a chance to see them, how they act away from their coaches that they've had for 3 or 4 years back at their respective schools, and how they adjust to other coaches, and I think it's no doubt about it that these players are talented and are talented to be able to play at the next level, but just seeing what they do away from home, away from their environment, going into another environment, and accepting new roles. A lot of these players will be playing some other positions that they didn't get necessarily play, during the high school. And I say that kickoff team, punt team, just special teams. They, a lot of these players don't play that on their respective schools. So they're so popular, so in demand, and they hardly ever come off the field. So, when they're playing offense or defense, so. It gives an opportunity for a lot of these young men to showcase their talents in some other, avenues of their game.
Well, I know for the Miss-Al game, there's a lot of people that are glad in Mississippi that it is in Mobile and not, all the way up. Although Montgomery always did a great job of hosting, and what a nice stadium that was. But a lot of more people can come from Mississippi if it's in Mobile.
Yeah, that's true. For a long time we had it at Ladd Stadium there in Mobile.
That's right.
Where it was there. So now they've moved it back there. But this game is a lot of people don't realize the importance of the game between each state. I mean, this is a game that goes way back in the mid '80s when it started, and a lot of rivalries between these games. And I'm gonna tell you, probably 40-50% of these players you'll be seeing them in college, in the NFL on 4 or 5 years later in the NFL. So the talent level, the speed of the game picks up, and it's just a tremendous week. Alabama does a great job hosting us. And that's the good thing about this game. You know, each state tries to outdo each other. You know, when they come here, we try to do something special for them and outdo Alabama. And of course, when we go there, they'll do the same. So, you know, it's just it's a great rivalry. And, you know, we get along both associations get along very well, and it's really good for the sport of football.
Well, I know here at Friday Night on the Lights, we're very excited. You know, we decided, I'm going to say 5 years ago, to really lean more toward the devices type of the way to look at this game instead. I mean, TV coverage is great, but with the device, you can go so many different areas, and you know, you can see it on your phone or a tablet or a computer or whatever. As a matter of fact, on last year's games now, Johnny, after the game was over, game was complete, starting in January, 55,000 people watched that game because they could load it up and look at it later, either on FNUTL.com or FridayNightOnTheLights.com or your website. So it's really kind of enhanced. And since we're carrying it, we're also on Apple TV, we're on Roku, we're on Fire Stick, we're on Facebook. And so a lot of people can take a look at this thing, and that's what we want.
Well, Russ, we've improved that thing, and I say we both have worked to try to make this thing, you know, just a lot more convenient. You know, everybody likes convenience, and you know, these people now can, you know, they can be in a deer stand and watch the game on Saturday. You know, and some of these things that we can do, and you know, in today's technology, it still amazes me what we can do. But you know, when you have grandparents and relatives that live out of state and just, you know, way away, you know, they can pull it up and watch the game, and it's just been a win-win for both, you know, Mississippi and Alabama, and obviously for Friday Night on the Lights. We all do such a great job.
Well, Johnny, we're going to look at all the games next week, and then you know, we're going to see a bunch of those players that are playing next week also in the two games that are ahead of them. We look forward to it. It's an honor for us, and we're going to give you the best broadcast that we can, and we certainly hope that everybody will enjoy it, and I guess I'll see you on the field out there.
Well, you will, Russ. And again, I can't say enough about what kind of job y'all do for you know, not only us, but just high school football in the state of Mississippi. You know, y'all do such a great job, and obviously I have to do a shout out for Chris Saxton. You know, he's my man back in the behind the scenes, but you know, the voice of the MHC, Russ Robinson, and do such a great job for us, and we're just blessed to have you and y'all's support of high school football in the state.
It's an honor for us, Johnny. Thanks so much, man. We'll see you very soon.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
I'm not going to let Russ toot his own horn. Somebody else has got to do it for him.
But I'm not going to toot my horn.
Yes,
I'm not.
You might. But anyway, so we've got an 18-minute segment we're going to play for you that's an interview, and we're getting ready to start that right now.
There's no better place to meet friends and family for a great evening out than Southern Char Steakhouse Restaurant at 210 West Canal Street in Picayune. Southern Char not only features succulent steaks that are grilled to perfection, but they have a wide variety of seafood dishes that are second to none. Southern Char has a full bar with all your favorite beverages and banquet facilities for any special occasion. Give them a call today at 601-798-2323 and make your plans for a great meal in a great atmosphere. Great food with Southern Charm. That's Southern Char Steakhouse Restaurant.
Welcome to the Southern Char Steakhouse Italian Grill halftime report here on Maroon Tide Football. Tonight we've got a treat. We're going to talk to Russ Robinson. That name's very, very synonymous with high school football across the state of Mississippi. And of course, he is the founder and the host of FNUTL, Friday Night on the Lights. Russ, good evening.
Well,
great to be here. It really is. And I know how crazy everybody is about their football down there in Picayune because we've talked about it for 35 years. So it's really an honor for me to be here.
Well, Russ, let's talk about FNUTL, the history, 35 years in the running. I know for sure we've been carrying it for 32 years every Friday night.
Yes.
On WRJW, maybe 33. My numbers, I get older and the numbers run together, but and run it on our app as well. But man, it's become synonymous with what people think is, I got to find out what's going on in high school football. FNUTL's the place.
That's right. Well, and it all started, back when South Panola had their 84. Everybody wanted to know the next Saturday morning, because all they had was newspaper back then, if South Panola won or not. Well, they were sitting around, and someone said, I wonder if anybody want to know those scores on Friday night before the paper hits on Saturday, and the rest is history. I mean, it just blossomed from that, and we got people on, and then we got the broadcasters on, and got coaches on, and then the last couple of years we've expanded into 8-man coverage. It just seems to get bigger and bigger every year.
Russ, talking about putting this on, and you got a very, very, I don't use this word, functional team. These guys know what they got to do, but a lot of folks, they think it's real simple. You're sitting there answering the phone with George sitting there with you, but man, what goes on behind, and you and George do a great job there, handling the callers and getting the information, but there's some folks behind the scenes here that people don't hear. They hear the names occasionally. I don't think they understand what goes on behind the scenes to make this show work.
Well, you're right, Kerry. And, you can't just sit behind the phone and talk to people. Todd Bailey, who's my son-in-law, by the way, answers the phones and gets them all ready and type them in to who's on the air and what they want to talk about. Then there's Paxton, of course, who is producing the show and making sure that we get the feeds to y'all and to MPB and to everywhere that they're going. Will the Thrill works really hard during the week to get the score sheets together so that George didn't have to go up and down and find everybody's score. And then Dr. Dave Childs is our IT guy who's from the Columbia area of Mississippi. He is now teaching at Appalachian State up in Boone, North Carolina, but he just loves the show so much. He's our IT guy, and if we have any problems, he handles it, and he puts the All-Star game replays on there, and he even puts the show replay on there. And we just get pounded on Saturday and Sunday and Monday for people that want to watch the show that didn't get a chance.
Yeah. Russ, you talked earlier about people wanting to know this. Of course, over the years, social media has advanced and these different score websites and everything else. But bottom line is fans want to hear it from somebody who was there, and in some cases from someone who called the game.
But you're absolutely right, Kerry. You were one of those guys for so many years, and Tommy Upton's handling it, now, and that he does a great job. But you're right. I mean, it's one thing to just say a score, but these broadcasters, we found out years ago, bring so much to the table because they got to call it. And if it was a controversial game, not that we've ever had any of those, but if it was a controversial game, they want to hear from the guys that called the game. And it just adds so much that just a score that people got to, and recruiters, Kerry, have listened to the show for years, and the guys that we call out every week, like the Knicks Knight and 900 Hickmans that played on the Maroon Tide team, they get to hear them every week. That's when they start making their calls on those guys.
You look at the who's who of the guys that call in the show regularly. You got some guys who you and I, being in this industry, have huge respect for. You got a Jake Wimberly, a Jared Schatz, Dr. Reed Vance. And I'll say it, no offense to you or anybody else, but I'd rather sit down and listen to Reed Vance call a ball game than probably anybody that's ever put a microphone in front of them. Philip Palmetry. Those guys are amazing.
Vance is so meticulous, as you know. I think it's really, really sad that he doesn't get to call any more MC football. But he is one of those guys that is there every year, and
he's covering Warren Central now. And, you know, Philip Palmer Tree does a great job with Lincoln. I mean, all of these guys. Jared Schatz is going to be doing their state championship games on MTV. And, you know, Josh West. I mean, you could just go down the list of the people that called Jake Wimberly, such a class guy. And, you know, they bring something to the table that your average listener will never get. And that's why we have the.
You know, Russ, one thing I want to throw here, guys who don't call the games, and you and I know these guys very well, but old Granny, Brian Grantham, who, you know, somewhere in Smith County or Wayne County or Jones County, he's going to be covering the ball game every week, Granny is. And then, of course, Mike Peterson, who, even though he doesn't call the Hattiesburg games, Mike is Mr. Hattiesburg Tiger. But those guys, they bring a special element to this show as well.
Well, they do. You know, Granny, you never know where he's going to go. He'll say, I'm in the sticks one week, and the next week he'll say, I'm on the other side of the stick. You know, and he's a funny guy, but he loves high school football. And, you know, we've got several pictures of Mike Peterson with the drum, that little brown jug that Hattiesburg wins every year. We got a couple of pictures of him up on the internet, and you know, they just bring a flavor. I mean, Granny he's just funny. And then Eric Smith has joined us this year, and he was driving a truck in Oklahoma City in 2 feet of snow, calling a scoreboard show.
Wow!
And he was watching a game. I do this at home. He was watching a game, driving a truck through the snow, but he just loves high school football. And then we sprinkle in the coaches. And I'll tell you, Kerry, what we've done with 8-man football has just been, you know, sort of phenomenal. Nobody was even talking about them 5 years ago. Now those 8-man schools are calling us and saying, will you come to our school? Will you feature our school? I mean, it doesn't rank up there with the day that I did the cheerleading at Pickett with the cheerleaders. I mean, that's kind of that's the all time. And I'm not going to say how out of step I was, but
I will.
We had a great great day over there, and it's just meeting the kids, because the show is all about the kids. That's what it's about. It's not about these broadcasters, not about me, you know. It's about what these kids are doing across the state of Mississippi. And by the time they get to the championship game, if you listen to the show, you go, hey, I know that kid. He was playing for Madison Central. He got 4 touchdowns in the Burger Cup the other night. And that's what it's all about. We want people to know what's going on in high school football. Just like right now, we got the new classifications up on the website. And Kerry, this will blow your mind. In 15 weeks, we will have had 6.5 million people go to our website.
Wow, that's a lot of traffic.
That's a lot of numbers for this state.
It is. We're going to take a quick break here. Russ, come back. We're going to reminisce a little bit. We're going to go back to the 90s and into the 2000s with some guys who are no longer part of the show as far as the call-ins go. But, man, there was a lot of good times. We'll take a break and be back right after this on the Southern Charge Steakhouse Italian Grill Halftime Report.
When it comes to Italian, the Italian Grill and Pizzeria at 20 Lakeshore Drive in Picayune is the premier restaurant to dine in or for takeout. Choose from any of their many delicious meals made to perfection. From eggplant Napoleon to their signature crawfish Jubilee, the Italian Grill and Pizzeria offers a menu that is a cut above with a superior wait staff and relaxed atmosphere. The Italian Grill is the choice for fine dining, whether you want a quick lunch or an evening of great food, and you can also drink at the bar. They offer a military discount. Open Wednesday through Sunday, so make your plans today by calling 601-798-6055 to make a reservation or for takeout order. Come experience great Italian food, check out the weekend specials, and let the Italian Grill provide you a great night out.
Let's continue our conversation with Mr. High School Football from a broadcasting perspective, Russ Robinson, the creator and the host of FNUTL, Friday Night Under the Lights. Russ, we kind of talked about current days, things going on, but man, there's some history here. We've had a lot of good old times in the past. You know, I think of guys like Sharpie Smith at Wayne County and Ping Pong up there in the Delta, and Will the Thrill Watson, and of course the late Jim Parker. You know, there's so many funny stories around those guys.
Well, and you know, they all played a role. in high school football. Jim Parker, a lot of people may not remember Jim, but not only was he a great guy, he was a real promoter of high school football. He had a real card to go with it. And we loved having him on the show. And he had his New England Patriot ring, Super Bowl ring, all that goes with it. But ping pong up there and Tiger Man up at Batesville.
Yep.
And so, but I remember Sharpie Smith. I mean, he would be there every week talking about Wayne County.
Yep.
People knew who Wayne County was. And what happened was all of these broadcasters and these people that didn't broadcast started meeting each other at the championship games.
Right.
And so don't leave Harold out from Petal. I mean, he loves those Petal Panthers. Melissa from Mize.
Well, we kind of watched her. She was
grow up,
pregnant with Cade, birth Cade, and then Cade was coaching. Of course, Melissa, her husband, Coach Caldwell, they moved around quite a bit, but she was a big part of that every week. And I remember one time she called in and she was, I'm going to use this word, feeding Cade while she was on the show. We'll leave it at that. So. You got to keep this G-rated as best we can.
You can draw from your imagination on that.
Yeah. Back to Jim Parker. Go ahead, Russ. I was thinking.
When she said, "Excuse me, Russ, I got to change sides," I knew what was going on.
Yeah,
okay?
we all kind of got a visual there. But going back to the late great Jim Parker, I recall one time that when Barry Harper was doing the games with me, he would always give a couple of stats. He gave out some stats on one of our running backs. One night, had a phenomenal game, rushed for 250 yards, a couple of touchdowns, threw a touchdown, might have recovered a fumble. Who knows? He may have sold popcorn, did a little bit of everything. Of course, Barry's rolling these numbers off. Well, Jim Parker is right behind Barry on the show that night. You probably recall this. And I remember he gave a couple of stories. He said, Russ, before you let me go, I want to say one thing about my buddy Barry Harper. Of course, Jim and Barry were in Delta State at the same time. He said, I got to just set the story straight that Russ, Barry Harper was cheating on me in a math class. So be careful. Be careful with all those numbers he's throwing out. Of course, everybody hee-haw thought funny. Well, Barry, I remember this riding in the old van coming home. He said, "Wait till next week." I said, "What?" He said, "Wait till next week." Well, I never forget this. He called in, and lo and behold, Jim Parker got in the queue before Barry. So Jim did everything, and he said, well, "I'm gonna get off here, Russ, because I know my good buddy Barry Harper is in the queue. I heard you say that." So he gets off the air, and Barry comes on and says, "Russ, before I say anything about our game tonight, before Kerry gives you an update, I want to set the record straight." He said, "Now, Jim Parker said that I was cheating off him on his math test. That is correct. But I figured it was his third time in the class, having failed it twice, but then he knows the material." And if you remember right, Jim never brought it up after that. Barry kind of got back at it.
Never brought it up again.
You mentioned the Knicks at Nikes for picking back in the 90s, and of course, Barry's he's tougher than a Waffle House steak when he's talking about one of our players, John Feaster, the Undertaker, who now the head coach of Pearl Central. And one of my favorite all-time Barrys, and you remember this one, Russ, because I think you fell out of your chair, was Barry said, "Well, Russ, tonight Coach Lee deployed the ball and chain offense." And you said, "What's the ball and chain offense?" He said, "Well, we got the ball, we kept it, we moved the chains." And I thought we were going to have to get somebody in the studio to give you a option. But, things like that is what over the years have really, and it's not only giving the information on this show. I think that's the one thing I go back to Jake and Jared and Reed and Phillip and Josh and all those guys. It's also a little humor involved, but also humor that's funny and clean, but also gives you a perspective of what the game was like.
Yeah, and like Reed Vance last week, he had a week off because of the way the schedule ran. And I said, "What are you going to do next Friday? You going to have a week off?" He goes, "I'm going to go out and rake pine straw, I guess." And he said, "Russ, you're welcome to come." And he said, I'd pay money to see you rake pine straw.
Oh.
So it was everybody. But it's been a show that met the people where they were. And a lot of people, as you know, drive from North to South Mississippi to play games. And the funny thing is, a lot of times they'll go, "Hey, Russ, why don't you run that thing till 1 o'clock in the morning?"
Yeah.
Now, I've just called a ball game that night, too. Yeah. So, going to 1 o'clock wasn't high on my list, but there's just so many stories. And but it's been neat to call players. You mentioned this a moment ago. It's been neat to call players who now I call games as coaches.
Yeah. That's great.
Devin Cooper comes to mind. You know, he played on that Scott Central team that won the state championship. Now he's the head to Northwest Rankin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just you make friends for life on this show.
Yeah, I'm thinking of, Cody Stogner, now the head coach here at Picayune, doing a great job. And I called Cody's games when he played. Of course, he was assistant here under Coach Lee for years, and now he's taken over and doing a phenomenal job here. Well, Russ, look, as always, appreciate your time. FNUTL, a big part of Friday nights. I'll tell you, here in Prairie County, it's very popular. As you mentioned, Tommy does a great job filling that in, as I knew he would. And it's just, FNUTL will rock on for many, many years. And Russ, we hope you're there to be a part of that. And
I hope so.
Tip my hat to the job.
We're very appreciative, Jerry. We're very appreciative of WRJW. I mean, there were.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories.
A tremendous patch for us over there. And so we're very much appreciative of you guys carrying the show.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't go back and just touch on this. You mentioned Ty and Dr. Dave. Will the Thrill Watson. I'm going to tell you a funny story on Will one time. We were sitting around the clubhouse after a ball game, and we got on hold. This is back when we'd hold long enough I'd fall asleep, if you remember those days. But anyway, we were sitting there, and I remember Will calling in. We all love Will. Will's just one of, but Will's he doesn't get his words out real fast. And I remember Will got on ahead of us. This was back when Brookhaven had a guy named Aaron Yarborough, and one of my buddies was sitting there in the locker room. He said, "I sure hope he doesn't have to give stats on that running back, because it'll take him 30 seconds just to say his name." And he said, then 30 minutes to tell what he did. But I pick it Will because Will, you go back, Will was one of the originals. I mean, he really was. And
that's right.
Will the Thrill, such a great guy, and just the stuff he does for you. And also, I can't say enough about the job that George Broadstreet does. People don't understand how good he is at what he does until you watch him do it.
Yep. So. Well, you're exactly right about that. George and I have been together for a lot of years, and he's kind of the steady one between the two of us. Yeah. And he brings law and order back to the show, which is a good thing.
That's for sure. Russ, appreciate you, my friend. God bless you. Good to talk to you, and we talk to you again real soon.
Sounds good, Jay. Have a blessed Thanksgiving, my friends.
At Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we tell local stories that matter. Educational and entertaining television, radio, news, and podcasts. We have something for everyone. So tune in and enjoy all we have to offer. Every day, MPB. Your stories, our mission.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today. 1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search. You'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
I was paying too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. Yeah! Smile, you're on cricket.
I was paying too much money in 5G, and then my son suggested that I should try cricket. It was easy to switch.
And we love easy. Pretty good deal.
Smile, you're on Cricket.
.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
No matter if you use an app to start your car or still have a flip phone, Everyday Tech can decipher today's technology for tomorrow's solutions. Subscribe now to the podcast using any podcast app or the MPB Public Media app.
Tonight's Friday Night Under the Lights is made possible by Malone Roofing. At Malone Roofing, we're more than just roofers. More information at ecmalone.com.
This is MPB Think Radio. Mississippi is our mission.
Welcome back to Friday Night on the Lights. Big thanks to Carrie Metzler for that interview. And there's so many people that make this show up.
Yeah, that's something you almost ought to save and replay every year.
Well, it makes a great stocking stuffer,
really
by the
does,
way.
yeah.
If you're looking for that last minute idea.
That's right.
All right, George, we got a lot of folks that probably just getting in for the first time. Let's do the scores.
All right, let's go. Top of the order, 7A. It was Tupelo in the North defeating Madison Central tonight, 21-3. And Brandon won the 7A South Championship, beating Ocean Springs 31-13. In 6A, it was Grenada over Warren Central 23-10. And in the South, it was Hattiesburg beating Picayune 39-35. In the 5A, it was West Point beating Cleveland Central 14-7. And Gaucher edged Brookhaven in the South 37-35. In the 4A championships, Louisville beat West Lauderdale 40-6, and Poplarville edged Forest 24-21. In the 3A championship, Choctaw County 41, East Webster 20, and the game that went back and forth that we scored, but we finally have settled on, Noxubee County edging McGee 36-34. In the 2A, it was Charleston over Northside 22-14. Heidelberg beat Raleigh 26-12. In the 1A championship, it was Baldwin beating West Lowndes in the North 34-6. And in the South, I'm still not really sure I understand this, but the most consistent score we get is that Simmons beat Velma Jackson 50-0. And
it's a mind blower.
Find that hard to imagine.
Me too.
But that's maybe Brandon Shields, when you talk to him in a little bit,
yes,
he might add some clarity to that.
All right, I'm sure he will.
All right, that's it, Russ.
All right, let's go to Granny. Good evening, sir. How are you? Do we still have Granny on the phone? Granny, you with us? Chris may have...
Granny may be on mute.
He may be... He may have waited too long.
Well, it may be. So let's go to Eric Smith.
Okay, Eric, how are you tonight, my friend? By the way, where are you tonight?
Sydney, Nebraska, 59 miles from Wyoming, Cheyenne.
Ooh. Is it a little cool?
That's what I just didn't tell you. It's a four-letter word, C-O-L-D.
Wow. Is it snowing?
Not snowing, praise the Lord.
Were you able to catch any games tonight?
I watched that Georgia game. I just went with my college over it. But the one that I was, when you and the guy from Hartfield talked earlier, that kid took that ball game over. I mean, that kid, that Wildcat quarterback, he just made play that kept the Hartfield team going.
Yeah, you're talking about Kinsey West. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, throw it to him, he catches it. Let him run the ball, and he picks up yardage. I mean, that's what those type players do in those games. That's why that team gets there. Those type players make dramatic plays after play.
You know, you and I were talking today or the other day about the new structure, the redistricting in the MAIS. Tell me why you like that.
I like that because, you know, St. Joe moved over, and when they were in the public school association, they were very competitive, but they hadn't been competitive with the likes of Jackson Prep, MRA, Hartfield, and JA. Now they're going to be able to get a shot. They may not be first here. The top four, we know the top four, and that's going to be JA, Jackson Prep, MRA, and Hartfield. That's going to be the top four. I don't know if there'll be a year that I'm alive, and that's not your top four as long as that 400 stays.
I agree with you.
Six, you know, the next six is going to be Park Lane, Leak. They're going to be there.
Capaya.
Is going to be there, you know, and Capaya's going to be there.
That's right.
Then that's where St. Joe's going to get a chance. Cathedral. See, Cathedral has a good history of being a good, but the way they were playing it, those teams didn't necessarily have a chance to make a playoff. More or less talk about state title now. I like that format in the 4A, 3A, and the 2A all the way. I really like it. I mean, it's like Texas. Texas has your select. That's the top four teams in the district that they make the playoffs for select. Then in the last four teams the 0 and 8 teams make playoffs in non-select, and they still crown a champion in select and non-selected. I like that. I wish Mississippi Association would do something different too than what they do, and we're getting the same old flavor, north, south. You know, you can predict it. It's going to be the Brandon and the Tupelo and the Madison Central, Ocean Springs, Oak Grove. You know, it's your haves and your have-nots. And, I mean, look, and I just don't even know what anybody's going to do to that Louisville. I mean, when is that show going to get stopped, you know?
I don't know, man. I think Jake had mentioned earlier that Louisville had been to 14 state championship games and won them all. And
won them all.
And won them all. Hey, look, Eric, be careful up there. We've got some folks because we're running late. We ran that interview a moment ago. But we want to thank you for being a part of our show and, you know, letting us know where you are and that you're into high school football. I know you are. You played the game. You love the game. And I want you and your family to have a wonderful Christmas and a great New Year and a very safe holiday season. Get that rig back home.
I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one, too. I'll probably text you next week during some of those games.
Okay. That'd be great. I'll wait for it. Thank you, Eric.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Granny's now on.
All right, Granny. You told me you were at the Forest game tonight?
Yes, Forest and Poplarville. Great ball game.
Great ball game, and I think going in there, a lot of people might have picked Forest, correct?
Yeah, they probably did, but I actually picked Poplarville.
Really?
Poplarville has got a great running game, the best running game I've seen this year. Those guys can flat out run the football. And Forest played them toe-to-toe. There were 3 lead changes in the ball game. Poplarville led 7-0. Forest come back 7-7. Forest at the halftime 14-7. And Poplarville wound up getting up 24-14. And Forest scored, make it 24-21. And they didn't get the onside kick with 2 minutes left.
Oh.
But that was a great ball game, a 3-point ball game. You know, Russ, there's only one kind of game I hadn't had this year. That's the 8 overtime game.
You got it tonight, big boy.
Hey, I hadn't had that. I hadn't seen that yet, but I'm sure it's going to come sometime, brother.
Well, watch the rerun on ESPN of Georgia Tech, and then you'll be able to say you had one of those too.
Hey, Russ, I just want to say, you know, it's been fun. It's been a pleasure calling y'all. It's fun because you and George make it fun.
Well, we try. We you know, it's guys like you and Kerry and all the rest of you, my peers, all the guys that call in make it fun because they, you know what, they make it real. And
yeah,
we made that decision years ago, but to go more than just scores, because we would rattle off scores all night long. But but if we didn't have Granny, then we wouldn't have a show.
Well, in other words, we have good material to work with.
That's right.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, next weekend that Brandon Tupelo game's gonna be good.
Yeah.
And mark my word. Hey, mark my word. Charleston Heidelberg is gonna be a major classic.
An instant classic. That Heidelberg team's good, aren't they?
They are really good. They got a kid named Chris Krause. He's a sophomore, 10th grader. He makes them go.
Well, all of those games are, and I'm wondering where you're going to be putting your pup tent up. Which end zone, because you'll be there all week.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I can't wait for that.
Well, it's going to be some good ones, and I hope after that you're able to catch one of the other All-Star games or both.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I will.
Well,
but if I don't, I'll be talking to you anyway.
There you go. Will you come see us when you're in town, my friend? Always a pleasure to have the Granny on the show.
Thank you, and good Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
Let's real quickly say goodbye for the season to Ty Boyle.
Okay.
And then we'll have our break and have Brandon Shields.
All right. So, Ty, thank you for being. Look, it was a tough year for the Crystal Springs Tigers, but you handled it well. I don't know how well you handled this afternoon.
Yeah, I did. I'm on my way back from Oxford now.
Did it get cold up there?
Yes, it is still cold.
When you get in the house, it's still going to be cold till you thaw out.
Yeah.
But there's a game coming tomorrow.
Yes. We'll have a horn.
Thanks, Ty. Have a great Christmas, brother.
All right.
Merry Christmas, Ty.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You get Granny and Ty back to back. It
just
get
ain't
any
any better than that. No, it just doesn't. So,
gosh,
I really, some of these calls we set up obviously and ask them to call in. A lot of folks just call in when they want to, and I ask people all the time. They say, "Well, I listened to the show and I was going to call about my school," and I said, "Well, why don't you?" Well, because you were already covering it for one thing, and you're covering it better than I could cover it, so I just don't call. But it is nice to know that there are folks out there on the road that do call in, and tonight you're looking at a lot of traveling north and south.
Well, I when Jake was on here from talking about Brandon and Ocean Springs, I can't remember, but I would like to know how many trips to the coast Brandon made this year.
A bunch.
A bunch.
I
mean, man, they put some miles on the vehicles.
That's what, I mean, Jake's had to put, what, $10,000 on his truck. But they have, because that's the way it laid out.
That's the way the district is.
So it's as he would say, it's a labor of love. But you'd like to have a set of tires every now and then. Hey, we're going to take a time out. When we come back, the one and only Brandon Shields to wrap this thing up for us for this year on Friday night under the lights. Big thanks to all the advertisers that made it possible. Cricket Wireless, the state of treasurer of Mississippi, and Malone Roofing. Thank you so much, folks.
Cricket has free Samsung Galaxy phones? What?
Nationwide coverage and lightning fast 5G?
Smile, you're on Cricket.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket.
I volunteer at a bunny rescue, and with Cricket, my bill is consistent.
Wait, this is huge! A new offer, 5G for 15. You heard it here first. 5G plans starting at $15 a month. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Welcome back to Friday night under the lights. Got, gosh, this time flies, doesn't it? I'm going to tell you what, we want to thank all of the folks that called in tonight. And again, want to remind you that Jared will have all the championship games on MPB starting Thursday, so you don't want to miss those. And let's go to Brandon Shields, who I think you told me you were going to be at Louisville tonight, correct?
Yeah, Louisville, West Lauderdale, yeah.
What is it about Louisville, Brandon? I mean, they just seem to get into this championship game every year. I mean, is this a school that should be in 5A or what?
No, they're definitely 4A with their enrollment, all that stuff. But yeah, one tonight, 40-6. It was a very dominant performance. I mean, from start to finish. I mean, so Wildcats had 398 yards offense. West Lauderdale, I think, had 86 yards offense total. So, yeah, they just do what they do. They run the ball. They're very balanced on offense, and defense, they get after it. Very athletic, very physical, and they just play with play with a lot of tradition, and so and they play tough. That's what they are. They play the game the right way, and they do what they do. They get a chance to make history next week. So
15.
There'll be 3 going for 13. Going for their 13th state title, but they've never won 3 in a row in school history. So they've gone back-to-back several times. Now they have a chance to get 3 in a row. So that's never been done in program history at Louisville. So
something for them to shoot for. Yeah. Hey, is there anything, Brandon, in these 7 games that surprised you? Say, go all the way back to August, what you were thinking, how it may shake out. Any one of these games that surprise you that they got in?
Of course, Baldwin in 1A. We knew they had a good bit coming back, but it's really, out of the north in 1A. Out of the north in 1A was kind of pretty much wide open. In Biggersville, West Lowndes was going to be pretty good. In the South, we all thought it was going to be Velma again, but Simmons, that 50-0 score was right.
Brandon, I find that hard to believe. Simmons Velma Jackson had a good season, a great season. And Simmons is good, but man, that's a
manhandling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the details yet. We'll play catch up when I get home, but they will. 50-0. Yeah, I mean, Simmons is a very physical. They're a fast team. They rely on team speed, and they run the ball really well. They got two really, really good backs. So, they kind of, I don't want to say, I don't know the details yet, so I don't want to go into detail.
What about Tupelo Brandon?
Yeah, that's a very good matchup. Tupelo getting back here first time since 2013. So that's going to be a very, very good matchup. Of course, that Brandon offense and that Tupelo defense, that's going to be a matchup to see. Grenada Hattiesburg, two very, very good offenses. Grenada's a more physical run game type offense, where Hattiesburg is typical team speed and likes to go tempo. The 5A game read the same. Like the 5A and 6A games are very mirror image of each other. West Point, Gaucher. It's going to be a West Point. What they do. Gaucher is another high potent offense. Louisville Poplarville same way, but Louisville's defense is really physical, really athletic.
Sounds like it. It sounds like it. Well, look, brother, we got to run, but I want to thank you for what you do for this state. And a lot of people don't realize how hard you work on this, but you do, and you do a great job. And of course, Chris's magazine is kind of the Bible when it comes to high school football in this state. So y'all keep knocking it out there. Have a great holiday season. Hopefully we'll see you at one of the All-Star games, and be careful getting home tonight. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll see y'all at Miss Al in Mobile.
Sounds good. We'll be there. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, thanks.
Wow, that wraps up season 35. 35.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, you might have a hard time documenting it. It's like we think it's 35, but we're not really sure.
Dr. Dave says it's 35.
Dave. Okay, well, if
yeah.
Dr. Dave says it, that's pretty good.
And since we always ask him, what's the odds of him being wrong about it?
Probably
not very high. Yeah, so.
But 35 is kind of long.
Yeah, it is kind of long. Want to thank Ty Bailey for being on the phones, Chris for producing week in and week out. George, you did what you do so well, even if I was out a few nights.
That's okay.
But it's a lot of fun. We appreciate what we do. We really appreciate the sponsors that make this possible. Be sure to thank them when you see them. We will see you back here next August on Friday night under the lights. Good night, everyone.
State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record